Welcome everyone to FXB Climate Conversations. Climate Conversations are a series of dialogues with FXB Climate Advocates from around the world. In these conversations, we dive into our advocates' climate stories, their climate action project, and their thoughts on the urgency of climate action and how other youth can be involved. So today I'm really honored to introduce you to David Solano from New York. So David, please introduce yourself.
So hi, my name is David Solano. I'm a junior in high school in New York City. I go to Regis High School. I've been passionate for climate justice since a few years ago when I joined FXB's team, helping out making videos or social graphics. And then eventually I joined, I believe it was the 2021 spring cohort of FXB. And after going through that whole experience, I was inspired to help more. And I joined FXB more professionally as an intern, helping out with web design, helping out with video creation, and helping out with graphic design. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here today.
Thanks, David. So can you tell me a little bit about where you grew up and how climate change has impacted the community where you grew up?
Sure. So I have a dual nationality, meaning that I'm from Mexico and I'm also a citizen here in the United States. And I've grown up most of my life. I grew up in Arizona. And then when I was aged around 9, I moved from Arizona to New York. But nevertheless, climate change affects all the different places that I've been to and I've lived in throughout my whole life. Specifically, I've been working a lot in Mexico to try to help and combat against climate change issues there. In Mexico has some of the highest pollution rates, and also in general, just the air quality in Mexico is some of the worst air quality in the whole world. And Mexico, sadly, as a government, hasn't really been prioritizing climate action and helping combat against climate change earlier. Now they're starting to focus more on it, but before it wasn't really as much of a big priority for Mexico. So specifically, one of the main things that I was hoping to combat in some of my climate projects was on the coasts of Mexican beaches, specifically on the Atlantic side, such as in Cancun and in Puerto Morelos and all those areas. They're being heavily affected by the changes in water temperatures and the changes of the overall ocean ecosystem of Mexico, causing this type of algae called sargassum that is non-native to Mexico beaches to come in and to affect the wildlife, to affect also just the tourism in Mexico. So we're seeing in Mexico key impacts that climate change has outside of just affecting wildlife and outside of just affecting our planet, but also affecting the economy in Mexico. So right now, beaches around Cancun are searching for ways to try to combat against sargassum and against its harmful events, its harmful effects to the water. And specific a key relation to what sargassum is in Mexico to here in New York, which is where I grew up in Arizona for most of my life, but I moved when I was 9, as I mentioned earlier. And here in New York, there's also been that same issue with invasive species coming in, and mainly another invasive macroalgae known as Disciphonia japonica has come onto the coasts of Long Island and from Japan. And what it's basically doing is it's releasing these things known as HABs, which are harmful algal it's basically just releasing substances into the water that are harmful for creatures and are harmful for not just microbial growth, but also for actual invertebrates. And we see that in several different studies that have been published online of how Disciphonia japonica is causing red water events, which basically is through its decay, it's bringing toxics and toxins into the ocean, and it's causing for these invertebrates and for these invertebrates growth to be inhibited, so that they die at a younger age, and it's causing for bacteria to also it's causing to also stunt back microbial growth, which several different bacteria in our oceans and oceans are necessary to keep the ecosystem alive, because the ocean, that's how it was created. But now, sadly, because of the effects of climate change, it's bringing invasive species to our coasts, not just in Mexico, but also closer to home in New York. And it's overall changing beaches, the ecosystems, and affecting millions and millions of life.
Yeah, thank you. And I think what you're showing is that climate impacts don't really know borders, right? We think something is happening far away, but actually we're all very interconnected, right? And if we're getting invasive species from Japan, and sargassum also was impacting Florida this summer as well. You know, there were these crazy headlines, or massive, like mile-long, they called it blobs of seaweed approaching the coast. So yeah, it's a really big issue. What an important issue to focus on. Can you tell me about how you learned about the FXB Climate Advocates program and what you got out of the experience?
So I learned from the FXB Climate Advocates program from my sister, who is actually an alumnus from FXB. And she learned it, I believe, from it was the Earth Day initiative. John Opperman, he recommended FXB to help for my sister, and because my sister was really eager on helping out. So that's how she learned from FXB. And then after seeing the experience that my sister had in FXB, and even earlier before FXB, my sister and I would go to bi-weekly beach cleanups at Friends of the Bay. It's an organization that cleans oceans in Long Island. So I've always been passionate on especially helping our oceans, mainly because first, I love to swim. And also second, the ocean is really close to me, because at least where I live in Huntington, I live right by the ocean's coast. I live 15 minutes away. So it's always been really important to me in my life, visiting Mexico or driving out to California when I used to live in Arizona. I've always loved the ocean. So originally we did Friends of the Bay. And then my sister did the Earth Day initiative with John Opperman, and he had recommended FXB to her. And then from the connection that I had to FXB through my sister, I was able to begin work with FXB and apply and join a cohort. And I believe the second question was
what did you learn from the FXB Climate Advocates program? What skills or resources did you walk away with?
So from the FXB Climate program, I was definitely I was already inspired beforehand from the work that my sister had done and the work that I had been doing, but just seeing all the stories and seeing how a passionate group of individuals, of many individuals, we had over like 50 participants in our cohort that applied and got accepted. Seeing the collective passion of everyone, each of them with their own individual climate stories and their own individual climate projects, really inspired me and showed me that it's not, because typically whenever someone decides to address climate change, they think that they're too small and they think that they won't have an impact. But seeing the collective group of the FXB Climate Advocates and the FXB Climate Advocates and seeing our mentors from the program really showed me that we're all in this together, that we're all doing our part to address climate change and to create our own climate action programs in our own communities. And on top of that, just the diversity of where the different FXB members came from in our cohort. We had people from all over the country. We had people from either coasts. We had people even from across the world, in Kenya or in Nairobi or everywhere. And it's just so inspiring to see how a like-minded group of individuals, ranging from being just 13 or 14 years old, all the way up to being like around 22 or 23, how as a young generation, we sadly now have the responsibility to work towards our future. And it was really inspiring to see that we've taken that responsibility and we've made strides in helping our own communities. And the first reason why I love the FXB Climate Advocates program, and I took something that I took away mainly from the FXB Climate program, was the inspiration that I saw from everyone that was participating. And as a second broader thing that I took away from the program was really just FXB Climate Advocates gave me the skills, gave me the resources, and the mentorship, as I mentioned earlier, to conduct my climate project. We were able to get several presentations made from several different professionals in the climate action field. And seeing those presentations not only served as eye-openers, showing me other problems that are being caused from climate change that I didn't even know about, but also just further showing me more projects that are being done and more opportunities for me to help out. Like, I know one of the FXB's main connections is it's like the Children's Climate Lobby or something.
Citizens Climate Lobby. Mhm.
Like, Karina, do you know what it's called? Like the
Citizens Climate Lobby. Yeah.
I know mainly one of my favorite activities that we did in FXB was the Citizens Climate Lobby. And I was able to, we were able to act as if we were lobbying towards a professional or towards a worker at our government. And just learning how to lobby is a very important skill that not only works for climate change, but also for addressing key problems in our society. So FXB truly has taught me so many different things, and it's given me the resources, the mentorship through past FXB alumni to be able to conduct my own private climate project, and also has taught me more about the issue of climate change at large.
Thank you so much. That's so wonderful to hear. And it's great because I've heard many alumni from different parts of the world cite the climate lobbying session as one of the most remarkable. So it's really good to know, because it was always, we were a little nervous how this would work, how to make a really interactive session. So it just makes me really happy to hear that session really stood out and, has made an impact. Thank you. So I wanted to ask you, you're passionate about oceans. We know what's happening, with invasive species affecting our oceans. So what can people do? Young people, people of all ages, what can we do to protect our oceans? What are some actionable things that we could do in our lives?
So what I've been doing with my school is I've been just studying the effects that this macroalgae has, Disciphlonia japonica has on my coasts. And through FXB, I was able to get a lot of resources to do this. And through my school, I was able to get that too. But that can be expensive, and it can also be difficult. And I think for anyone that wants to start, it would be a difficult place to start on studying the ocean and on conducting stuff like that. And that could definitely, in the difficulty of wanting to begin and not knowing where to start, that can definitely cause some people to stray away from helping our ocean. So what I would definitely do for anyone is to start small. And by starting small, I would say volunteer at a local beach cleanup that you see posted at like a town board or something. What I've been doing is I've been researching in Huntington and overall on Long Island. Wherever you are, if there's beaches, if there's oceans, there's bound to be beach cleanups connected with your government, connected with your town government. And that's how I started. I started when I was, even before high school, I started in 7th and 8th grade, going with my sister to these beach cleanups from Friends of the Bay, which takes beach cleanups in New York. And as a second recommendation, I would also do is definitely don't do it alone. Bring a friend, bring a sibling like I did, my sister, with you, because when you're doing it together, not only is it more fun, but you're also creating a more lasting impact. And also you're just creating memories of you guys working together to help clean the ocean and clean our beaches. So definitely start small, start at small beach cleanups, and then take it from there.
Yeah, that's really great advice, to start small and to do it together. And you and your sister make a powerful duo and very inspiring young people. And it's just really great to see that bond. But also, with climate change, really one of the most powerful actions we can take is to have climate conversations. So just having those kind of conversations with your family and friends while you're engaged in something meaningful like a beach cleanup is a really powerful way to fight climate change. So it's really great to hear that. I wanted to know, why do you think it's important for young people to be involved in climate action? Why young people?
So this is a very, it's a big question, but I would say, unfortunately, as the state of the world that we are in right now, older generations, and specifically, especially in, I don't know how it's, or for the rest of the world, it's similar, but our governments are being run by older generations, by people that aren't members or aren't even akin with the younger generations. And sadly, they're not really, they're not paying attention to the impact that climate action that climate change is having on our world. And it's really been left to us as a younger generation to help fight to create a better future for future generations past us. And it's important for young people to all help fight against climate change because of this. Because if whenever you're in your community and you see that there's an issue at hand, as members of that community, you're responsible to at least take a stance and to at least try to help and to take action, even if you see that other people around you aren't doing that. So as future leaders of tomorrow and as a growing generation, we all have the responsibility to help combat climate change, not only to address the issues that our leaders aren't addressing, but also to make sure that we do have a future and that future generations past us are able to stay in the beautiful world that we have here, and to be able to enjoy nature and enjoy their lives without worrying about climate change. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You're thinking about the future generations, right? By taking action now. It's really powerful. And I think it's it's unfortunate that it took young people to go to the streets and skip school for the world to take notice. However, it is incredible and humbling to see young people like you so committed and taking action, because that just puts the adults kind of in the role of, we have to support and guide and facilitate resources or whatever we can do, because if young people are taking charge, that means the adults are certainly failing around them. And we hear that from FXB climate advocates all over the world that kind of say the same thing. I wanted to know if you have any mentors that you admire or have learned from in your climate journey.
So, I mean, one of my main mentors that I've had in my climate journey, it's not really well known. It's my sister. She's always been there for me. She's always helped me. She inspired me to start climate change. I really originally to start fighting against climate change. I really originally, when my sister started going to these beach cleanups with Friends of the Bay, I was just accompanying her just because I didn't really have anything else to do. It was a weekend. I wanted to spend time with her. So I would go with her along and do these beach cleanups. But in doing so, I really grew in my passion for cleaning our oceans and to combat against climate change and the effects of climate change that are having in our community. So through my sister, I've been really inspired by all of the work that she's done. And I wanted to continue taking strides in her footsteps. So I'd say my sister is definitely one. Another one I would say is definitely you, Karina, you're just so inspiring, running this group of FXB Climate Advocates, coordinating with several different people. And it's incredible how you've been able to create this open space for all young people to come together and to learn about the issues of climate change and to create their own climate action projects. And lastly, I would just like to say one more person, or it's technically two more people, but they're both in the same sort of space. The first one is one of my teachers, Dr. Matone. Dr. Matone has done a lot of work in researching climate change. He's a biologist, and he was able to be one of my mentors for my FXB Climate Action Project, where he also helped me, gave me some of the lab resources that I needed in order to conduct my experiments with Disasophonia japonica. And aside from him, actually, this year, I'm seeking to continue working on that climate project, and through my school and also through FXB. And I was able to get in contact with one of the creators of one of the articles that mainly taught me about the issue of Disasophonia japonica on our beaches. And I'm just pulling up his name because I don't have it to heart. But basically, by reading that article about Discifolia japonica and its effects that it's had on our beaches, it really inspired me to make my own project on Discifolia japonica and to study its effect on microbial growth and whatnot. And I'm seeking to continue this year. And his name is Dr. Christopher J. Gobler. He works at Stony Brook in the School of Marine and Atmospheric Sciences, and he's also the director of New York State Center for Clean Water Technology. And he is an endowed chair of coastal ecology and conservation at SUNY. So he was technically fourth, but all four of those people that have been mentors in my life, my sister, Karina, Dr. Matone, and Dr. Christopher J. Gobler. And yeah.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for those humbling words about me. And your sister is amazing. So it's really beautiful to hear that she's one of your mentors. And we're just grateful, I met your parents. We're just grateful for your beautiful family in general and for the incredible contribution that you're making to the FXB Climate Advocates through the videos and the social media support, as well as to the climate ambassador kind of community now. So just really honored, and we'll continue to support and guide you in any way we can. And thank you so much for your hard work and your commitment to climate action. And this, we'll just continue to work together in our community. And we have an incredible alumni network of youth now from, I think, like 55 countries across. I think the only continents we don't have are Antarctica and Australia, but we got all the other continents covered. So it's really exciting. And thank you so much, David, for your hard work. And I look forward to working closely with you in the months to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karina.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.